Welcome, everybody, to another Rev Talk. We've decided we're going to talk about guilt. What does it mean to you? What does it mean spiritually? And how do we get rid of guilt? What do you think, Reverend Kim?
Well, we were talking about this, and I've pulled the guilt card from the creatures deck twice this week. And when I pulled it today, I was really annoyed because I don't like that card. And I thought to myself for a little bit of that, I could pull another card if I want. I'm like, no, this one's here for a reason. So I had to go back to the little pamphlet that came with the cards because I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that I was understanding it. So it says here we can feel guilty about our actions, our past, our circumstances, or even our successes. Guilt can teach us about who we want to be, but we must be careful not to get stuck. Are you showing yourself enough compassion? Well, I can pretty much say that, no. Probably not showing myself enough compassion. I do have a tendency when I make a mistake or I overthink it and then I beat myself up and then I feel bad and then I feel guilty, and it's for me it is a I don't want to say an endless cycle because that's not true. It's just something that triggers me and it's a hard trigger.
Mhm.
It's not like a, come up, and it's a hard trigger still for me.
When I was listening to you read what it said, I just read it along and I got the same thing. And as well as feeling guilty and showing yourself compassion, they go hand in hand because I need to be compassionate with my mother-in-law.
Oh,
And that's where all my guilt is because she's totally not coherent at all. You can't talk to her, you can't tell her anything. And it just, it reverses into anger. And then I have to be compassionate to myself and I have to breathe and I have to be compassionate to her. So they both go hand in hand. But where is the answer to how to relieve the guilt? Do you have to compassion for yourself? Do I have to keep having compassion for her? But I had watched a movie and I can't remember what it was. It's the new one on Netflix about the man inside, and he's inside a rest home, a senior citizen home,
oh
investigating.
yes.
And they said when they got lowered into the memory of the garden, um, you have to realize that that person's not there. You're not dealing with her. So I can bring compassion toward myself for the anger I feel toward her.
Right. Yes, that's really
And
good because that was one of the things that was said. I remember that where I remember that scene. The daughter had said to the father, that wasn't her anymore.
Mhm.
You made that promise to her about not putting her in the memory care, and that was no longer her. So it was I think it was kind of a release for him.
Exactly.
And you're absolutely right. Showing compassion, obviously showing compassion to yourself, because it can get frustrating. I've been there, and she was better than she is now when I was there. And
It's hard.
it is very difficult because you're used to talking to her like she's your mother-in-law, and she's not your mother-in-law anymore. That's not the same person anymore. This is,
Mhm.
a toddler almost. And
Yeah,
so,
you can't even communicate. I gave her a candy and she didn't know what it was and she threw it away,
yeah,
so.
yes, it's so again, like I guess with the four agreements,
Hmm.
not to take things personally.
That's one of the most important ones.
I know, and that's one of the ones I forget the most.
I do the be impeccable with your words. That one's
I
hard for me.
Well, I try to be. For me, though, it's a little bit easier, sort of, because I only have to be impeccable with my words to myself.
That's the most important thing, though.
Because there's nobody else here. Well, and if that's the case, I'm not very impeccable with my words with myself. So again, yeah, I loved that correlation you made though between compassion and guilt. That's very interesting in that, yeah, I agree with you. The guilt usually shows up, which is a reminder for you to be compassionate with yourself or compassionate with somebody else or forgiving of yourself for saying or doing something that's going to make you feel bad or that you do feel bad about. So I loved that. I think that was great. So thank you for that. I didn't consider that they go hand in hand, but it where there's one, the other follows.
Exactly.
And usually the guilt comes first, and then the compassion follows, hopefully quickly after the guilt.
Instead of being
It's,
guilty all the time.
instead of wandering around and beating yourself up over everything.
Mhm. And that's usually what we do.
Yes.
Mhm.
We go back over it and we think about it. Could I have done this? Could I have done that? That is not going to be helpful at all because it's done.
That's right.
So yes, the compassion, that's where the compassion comes in. I love that. Thank you so much. I think that's great.
It helps me.
Well, it's all that matters, right? I have to keep reminding myself, oh, am I being compassionate with myself? Oh, I'll try harder, try harder.
There you go. Keep it in the positive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how do you feel about this?
I think we learned that guilt takes compassion to rid yourself of it, both for you and whatever the obstacle is.
I love that. And with that, I think the energy, when you show yourself compassion, I think you feel that shift in energy.
I feel better, so I know you're right.
So there is that shift, which is kind of that ding of
Yeah.
confirmation that, okay,
The reinforcement.
yes, you can let this go now. It's okay.
Yeah,
I like
that
that.
is so true.
So I hope everybody watching this gets something from this. It's not meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to be another tool, something else for you to look at when you're feeling guilty about that, anything that's going on in your life.
So
So
true.
with that, we want to thank you for joining us on another Rev Talk and to remind you to be kind to yourself and to be gentle with yourself and to remember that you are unique in all the universe. There will never be another just like you in all of space and time. You are powerful, you are cherished, and you are loved. And without you, the song of the universe would be incomplete. Until next time, my friends, be well.